everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And this is a very exciting episode. This is where we are talking about our top 10 favorite Hallmark Christmas movies on both Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries for 2022. It was a lot of movies to watch, but we did it and it's very fun. We had a great time covering the season. And so we're excited to talk about our favorites and our favorite holiday movies, I should say. And I'm film critic Grace Wagner, and Megan is here.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
excited to talk about these movies. I think Hallmark did such a good job this year. I really think they hit it out of the park.
I think so too. There weren't that many that I really disliked. Pretty
Yeah,
much all of them I was either like, that was solid, or I really loved. There were a
yeah,
few, there were like three that I wouldn't watch again that I didn't like. But for the most part, I liked almost all that they did, which is pretty impressive for any studio.
really impressive. Yeah,
Hmm.
and definitely not how I felt in years past.
Yeah.
No offense to Hallmark, but
Well,
I listened to your interview with the
Samantha.
with Samantha, and I was like, okay, now I see why this year was so good. This lady gets it. She gets us. I felt like she sounded like one of us, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like it made me feel like we're in good hands.
Yeah. If people want to check out that interview, it was with Samantha DePippo, who is the head of programming for Christmas with
Yeah.
Hallmark. And so that was really fun to get. That's something I worked really hard to get that interview. So y'all should listen.
Yeah. She tells a really fun story about Three Wise Men and how that got made. And
Yeah.
yeah, she was great. And I really
Hmm.
feel like the Hallmark movies are in good hands.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was a great season for most of the network. I mean, it was great for Lifetime. It was great for Hallmark. It's just been a real fun time to be a Christmas movie fan. And but yeah, it was hard to come up with this top 10 list. I really went back and forth quite a bit.
Me too. I like scratched it out and then like I have all these scratches on my page because I'm like I can't. My like top three I felt like were pretty easy, but the bottom ones
Yeah,
were harder because it
I
was like, oh
agree. My top five were pretty easy. Yeah, but that bottom five was the hard part.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Hmm. Well, do you have any, I guess, honorable mentions that you want to share or
Oh, we just
um
into it.
yeah, so yeah, there were a lot actually that were really close that were fine for that 10 spot. For
Yeah,
me, A Big Fat Family Christmas was one. My Southern Family Christmas was one.
yeah,
Christmas Class Reunion was one. I really enjoyed that. And A Kismet Christmas. Those I think were the ones vying for that number 10 spot for me.
yes. A Southern Family Christmas didn't make my list, but I did like that movie.
Hmm.
And the other one that didn't make my list that I would like was going back and forth was The Royal Nanny.
Hmm.
Thought that was cute, but yeah, it didn't quite make my list.
Well, you'll see. It might make mine.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's dive in. Let share with us what your number 10 is.
So my number 10 is The Cookie Catastrophe
Hmm.
with Rachel Boston. I think I might like this more than most people.
Hmm.
I just thought it was really funny. I thought
Hmm.
I laughed out loud at the part where like the kid is helping her kind of like stalk the person they think stole the recipe. I just thought it was cute.
Hmm.
I haven't, I love Rachel Boston. And the last few movies I've had seen with her have kind of been misses for me. So I was excited that I like this one so
Hmm.
much. I do like her. She's, just such a great Hallmark star. So I thought it was really cute movie. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, her and Victor had nice chemistry. It was a fun mystery, and there were some pretty good red herrings in like especially the head of the board when they find her like they find when she finds them going through her stuff and she's like, oh, we do, see what we're doing here, kind of thing, and stops her. Like that was all well done. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was a little slow for me at parts. But yeah, it definitely I can see why it would make your list.
Yeah.
Something kind of new. those mysteries that we got from a bunch of channels. Like on Ion, that's all they did was mysteries. So that was, I mean, it's just been kind of in the air. I think ever since Knives Out,
Yeah.
everybody's trying to get on the mystery bandwagon, whether it's Hallmark or even feature films, and there were so many mysteries this year at the theater.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
From the writer of such Hallmark Channel hits as Hitched for the Holidays and Lights Camera Christmas, and last year's award-winning rom-com novel, The Last Birthday Party, comes the acclaimed family drama, The Mother I Never Had.
It's the moving and powerful story of LA landscape designer Nate Cronin, whose father dies, leaving Nate an orphan at 30 years old.
But when the provocative and mysterious Amy enters Nate's life soon after, it sends him on a devastating journey to unravel the truth about his past.
The Mother I Never Had, which Town and Country magazine named one of the must-read books of fall 2022.
It's a novel that asks readers to consider what they would do if they found themselves faced with a parent they never knew existed, and if they could accept the secrets and lies that kept her away for a lifetime.
The Mother I Never Had is available through all local and online bookstores, and there's a special Christmas sale. Kindle copies 20% off through January 2nd on Amazon.com only.
Be sure to use our affiliate link in the description below.
Well, my number 10 was a really strange one, but I enjoyed it. Twas the Night Before Christmas. It was my number 10.
Really?
Yes. I thought that they had really good chemistry, and I thought the story was bonkers, and I kind of had fun with it. I liked Tori and Zane a lot, and we actually got an email just today, believe it or not, from from these people that let me find it so I can read it, that evidently this mock trial is something that actually happens. We got this. I wish we'd had it for the recap, but it said, he says his name Duncan Crary. He says, "I'm so glad you enjoyed Hallmark's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I'm the creator and co-writer of The Trial Before Christmas, the mock trials held in a real courtroom in Troy, New York, to determine who really wrote the account of a visit from St. Nicholas. You can watch," and he gave us a link. It's christmastrial.com. The original mock trials were even wilder, with more ghosts than the Hallmark movie. And at the beginning of the video are a few short scenes from the actual Victorian stroll in Troy. So that kind of was fun.
Yeah, that is really fun. That is so funny. Yeah, it was cute. She was really good in it.
Yeah.
I liked that her character was kind of like a Hallmark star, because it was like she was like a childhood star who is now
it's true.
I thought that was cute.
Well, and you know how much I love local theater.
Yes.
And so that was fun, the community spirit with it all. And it was just kind of bonkers, and I had fun with it. Something new, something fresh. It was creative. So it ended up at number 10. I went really back and forth with A Big Fat Family Christmas. That was ended up my 11, because the first time I watched it, I was a little bit bored by it, but then the second time it just hit me. And I thought Tia Carrere was so funny in that movie, and as the mom, and I think it had a really nice heart to it. And of course, it's about another photographer, Hallmark photographers. So that was my 11, but I really enjoyed 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and I think that they often wait for one of the best that last weekend. I feel like,
yes, they do.
yeah, which is interesting. The reward the true fans. Stick it out. But what is your number 9?
Number 9 is a Royal Corgi Christmas.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was really cute. Obviously, the dogs were fun. Gosh, now I'm blanking on the actress's name. Hunter.
Yeah,
She's just so darling.
Yeah.
I loved her interview with you. I thought, and so maybe that influenced me liking the movie a little more. But yeah, I thought it was really cute. She looked so beautiful in that dress, that blue dress at the end. And I thought they had good chemistry.
Yeah.
And again, it was just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah, I had this in my top 20, so I did
Okay.
enjoy it. I thought he was very dreamy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they
Very
should use
dreamy.
him again. He was really good.
Yes. Yes.
And those dogs, I mean, come on. They were so cute.
Yes.
Little
So cute.
mistletoe.
Yeah. And I love that there was like an evil corgi handler. Like,
Yeah.
like it's just so it's silly, but it's fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. So my number 9, I think you'll probably have a lot higher. Um, and I did enjoy it. It's Hall at the Holly. I have it
Mhm.
number 9.
Yeah. I have that way higher.
Yeah. It was refreshing. It was something different. I would not want all Hallmark movies to be this silly. It was very close to verging on too much for me, but I still overall, enjoyed it, especially Melissa Peterman. I thought she was absolutely hilarious. And you could tell she ad-libbed a lot of the lines. Like one of the best moments of the whole season was when Lacey tries to hug her. And she's like, it's like both people have to be involved in the hug. I don't know, that whole scene. That was so funny. And yeah, and then the Eric Mabius cameo was so funny.
Yeah.
So surprising. I was not expecting that at all. And that was hilarious. So yeah, it had enough laughs to win me over. But it just ended up at number 9 because it was really silly. Really
Yeah.
silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
I love the scene with Melissa Peterman, or what, sorry, what's her last
yeah.
name?
Peterman, yeah.
Peterman, when they're at the Christmas tree lighting and she's standing next to Lacey and she says something like, I don't want to blame you, but I do, or something
Yeah.
like that. That was,
Pretty much
I
every
laughed
single
so
line of
hard.
hers was so funny.
So
I
funny.
I loved her so much.
Yeah. Bring her back.
Yes. And it was all filmed like 10 minutes from my house, which is kind of fun.
That is cool.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is My Big Fat Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't
It
love
was
the
really good.
title, I think we should stop using the word fat.
Oh,
I just don't like it's just
that's
like,
fair.
but I liked the movie, and my gosh, that song at the end when she sings,
Yeah.
I was bawling, crying. Like I was definitely crying at the end.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that I got on my list is because that last scene. I did hear people say that they wish they would have explained why she hated the party a little bit sooner in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Explaining that bullying situation.
Mm.
But I thought it was, but when they do explain it, it like makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah. Well, and I think we've all been there where we've lost something and we're in something big, something important, and we just feel terrible about it. And I really felt for her there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And
gosh, yeah, when she loses the money.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and I've talked a lot about Oh Holy Nights, how it's usually like I cringe usually when I
Yeah.
hear that someone's going to sing it because it's such a hard song. But it was one of the most effective Oh Holy Nights in recent memory because not only did she do a great job, she totally nailed it, but it also was so significant to the story. So it wasn't just like sometimes I feel like people pick that song to kind of show off a little bit to be like, look how
Mhm.
great a singer I am. But that's not the case here. Like it actually mattered to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. It
Yeah,
was
that was really good.
yeah,
In
and then
Cantonese,
it was in
right?
San Francisco, which I live in the Bay Area, so
Hmm.
that was fun.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was really I thought, oh, and he is so dreamy.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. And his
They should keep
accent.
using him.
Yes. And I loved it. I loved his accent. I love that they just let him have his accent.
Yeah,
Like, there's no need to change people's accents here. Like,
right.
let's all just use the accents that the actors have. And like, let's not make British people American and American people
Yeah.
British. Like, let's just make them, just keep them the way they are.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that was a deal breaker with Jolly Good Christmas. It wasn't for me. I actually had it at 15. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun story and I enjoyed both the actors and but it was totally
It
unnecessary
was.
it just didn't need they didn't need him to be American. There was no reason.
Yeah,
So
it didn't make any sense.
it didn't make any sense.
They
But
should've
but I
I don't
still
yeah.
enjoyed the movie.
Me
But
too.
yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too. I enjoyed it. I feel kind of bad for that they did it to him because it's like just let him be British. It didn't make
Yeah.
sense.
It was weird. It was weird. And I think he said that she was actually from New York. And so she had to put on a British accent,
Oh
which is
God.
funny.
Yeah.
So he was from, but yeah, but Big Fat Christmas was Family Christmas was a win. It was
Mhm.
and Tia Carrere,
Oh,
like I said,
as the mom.
hilarious.
So
I
funny.
laughed.
Yes, she
She
is
was
so good.
great.
And I was like, where do I know her from? And then I
Yeah.
Googled her and I was like, oh, she's the lady from Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope they bring her back.
Yeah.
Because she was so great.
hmm Well, my number 8 is The Royal Nanny, your honorable
Okay.
mention. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just charming and something new, something we haven't seen before on Hallmark. I love Dan Giannette. He's Janot, I guess. I loved his interview. I loved talking to him, and I don't know. I just thought he was great in this. It was kind of nice that they made him the brother of the princess instead of the prince, so it was
Mhm.
sort of a different position for him, and his relationship with the kids was very sweet, and all the espionage stuff was a lot of fun, and so I would definitely encourage them to keep exploring these other ideas and being
Yeah.
creative. It
Yeah,
was it,
it was really cute.
mhm.
And like all the hijinks of the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
the
cute.
the kids were a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I had that at number 8. Well, what do you have at 7?
Hanukkah on Rye.
Ah, very good.
Yes, I thought it was really well done. Um, I didn't see it coming, the like twist at the end that they had like
hmm
the same, we can do spoiler alerts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
They had the same vodka recipe. I didn't see
Yeah,
that
that was
coming.
fun.
Like and yeah, the battle of the bubbies, it was just, I mean, Julie Sherman Wolf just hit it out of the park with that one. I think I'm not Jewish, so I can't really speak to that, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was just such a good movie. I thought they had good chemistry. The whole letter writing thing.
Yeah.
It was funny and cute, and I want to see more like that.
hmm Yeah. Yes, I have it much higher. So it'll
Oh,
be fun.
okay.
Yes. Well, my number 7 is Lights, Camera, Christmas.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this one. I liked the chemistry between John Brotherton and Kimberly Seston. I think that's a great match. They both have a
Mm-hmm.
certain sarcasm. And as somebody who's a film critic, like I've been to film festivals and stuff. And so the setup of kind of a premiere I thought was kind of fun, creative, them taking questions, and I love Laura Solstice as her mom, being this fangirl, and that was really funny. Have you seen
Yeah.
lists all these movies, and the behind the scenes was fun. I had seen the craft services and some of the other stuff. I think they could have even leaned into it more, and I do think that the Hollywood Christmas on HBO Max was even better
Oh,
than this. And it was a similar idea. And that was actually shot on the Warner lot in
mm.
LA in Burbank.
I didn't see
And
it yet. What's it called?
oh, it's called a Hollywood Christmas. Really funny.
Max. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it would have been even funnier if this whole thing was taking place in the summer. And so you'd have all of the grips and everybody all in shorts and t-shirts, and they're in the winter clothes and things. I think they could have even leaned into it more, but
Yeah.
what we got I found really fun. I thought John Brotherton was very charming. I loved the scene where they were dancing on the set. They have a little date. I really enjoyed that. We get a kiss there, and I loved the ending. It was great. With a little wink to the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my number 7.
Yeah, I actually have that one as my number 6.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it too. I thought it was really funny. I love this how he's like always wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Um, and then in that scene when the mom is naming off all the movies, and then Kimberly's like, "Oh, they all blend together for me," or
Yeah,
something about
yeah.
that. I was like, "Oh my God, that's so funny," because so many people say that to me about Hallmark movies,
Yeah.
like, oh, they all seem the same. I'm like, no, 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 they're not to me.
Yeah, because I mean, especially this year,
Yeah,
there's that
exactly.
meme that keeps going around from 2017 showing all the
Yeah,
people in the green and red, things. And but this year, I mean, there was a lot of variety. I think people would be surprised. I really
me
do.
too. I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, like we said, I really liked all the variety.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that the Lights Camera Christmas was just really, really funny. I also, at first, I wasn't sure about like the flashing back, but then I
Hmm.
thought it really worked well. And it was actually a good way to keep the story moving.
Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes in the movies, they, kind of lag. So it was a way for them to like a storytelling device to get the story moving. If that
Yeah.
makes
It was
sense.
creative. And
It was
heard
creative.
some people say that, oh, his character was too much of a pig, but like that's how he's supposed to start out. And by the like he's kind of cocky and full of
Yeah.
himself at the beginning, but by the end, he like admits that he was wrong and like you see it character growth, character arc.
Yeah.
He changes and grows. That's what we want in characters.
Yeah. I heard people say that they thought the ending was rushed. But
Hmm.
yeah, I still liked it.
Yeah. I didn't think the ending was rushed
Yeah.
because because we've had all this time in between. Like she's moved to LA and everything, and she's working in costumes, and so
Right.
I don't think that. But my number 6 is a Holiday Spectacular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I was very hyped for it because I love the Rockettes, and I have great
Mhm.
nostalgia for the Rockettes because of going to see them with my grandma. And they're just so fun. And so I really enjoyed seeing the dancing, the camaraderie behind the between the dancers was really sweet, and the relationship, the main relationship was really nice, and I think well done. I forget their character names, but anyway, I thought they had nice chemistry, and it was just nice to see that relationship. And yeah, maybe she was technically engaged, but it was so you barely saw the other guy, and it was kind of they almost I don't even know why they needed that. I guess they were trying to create tension,
Mhm.
but it didn't bother me that much as far as like emotional cheating or anything.
I think
And
it helped. I think it helped that it was like in the past and it was like
yeah,
almost like an arranged marriage. So it felt
yeah,
like it was like a little bit easier to swallow because in the past, like women didn't or didn't have
right in the
much
50s,
say.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I think that helped because I was like, why do I not care about it as much as I cared about it in other movies? And I think it's because it was set in the past.
yeah, I think so. And she was just so obviously not invested at all
Yeah.
in it. And yeah, I get that this is not historically accurate. I understand that critique, but for me, I still enjoyed it and enjoyed the seeing the Rockettes and the dancing, and I thought it was refreshing to see Hallmark take on a like a period piece and do something different, and just all the dancing and to have Anne Margaret on board narrating was really fun. So yeah, it's had to be number 6.
Yeah, it really made me want to go see the Rockettes. I was like, how have I never seen them? Like
Yeah.
the toy soldier, the whole thing. That yeah,
Oh.
yeah, the kick line, everything. It was
Hmm.
yeah, I agree. It was good. It didn't make my list, which I'm surprised. I'm like, why is it not on my list? But um it was good.
Well, and evidently on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, one of them they aired a director's cut,
Oh, I saw that on Twitter, but
which
I missed it.
I missed it too because I had no idea until I saw some people tweeting about it. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
same.
what is that? So
Yeah,
that maybe one day I'll get to see that because I definitely would love to see that director's cut.
yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarky's podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. All right. Well, what is your number 5?
Okay, so my number 5, please don't hate me, everybody. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It's just I like other movies better. I feel like everyone else has this much higher, but my number 5 is Three Wise Men and a Baby.
That's my number 5 too.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Because I was like, oh my god, people are gonna be like, what? That's not your number 1. Look, it was cute. It was great. The 3 actors were awesome.
I mean, I basically gave perfect scores to all 5 of these top 5s. So we're talking very high.
Are so hard to rank because they're all so good and they're all kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Three Wise Men and a Baby as number 5.
Yes, there was so many funny parts. And I was grateful because they didn't make like the male characters doofuses. Like they were maybe not like the best at finding the correct diapers and stuff like that in the store. But other than that, like they were, I don't know, it's just been easy to be like, men are stupid kind of in this type of situation you sometimes see with, and I was a little bit nervous about that, but they didn't. Like they figured it out and they got it, and they were funny, and I enjoyed all 3 of the performances, and the dance was incredible, and the writing was really funny. And I mean, I guess it's just not as much a romance, and that's always going to be a little bit more my my cup of tea if I was, nitpicking. I mean, they do have the romance, but it's less, it's more about these 3 brothers. So that'd be the only reason I think I have the other 4 a little higher is they have a little more romance, and that's more my favorite. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very funny, very well done, nice camaraderie between the 3 brothers. I felt like these 3 men felt like realistic single men in their 30s. I mean,
all living in their mom's house. And
yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, especially Tyler, being this gamer and everything like that. Like I've never seen a guy like that on Hallmark Channel.
No, yeah, that was so funny when he was like talking to like he was like, "You're 11 now, dude," or something like that.
Yeah. And he gives him we gives the kid $50 for the
yeah, that was funny too.
Yeah.
And then the scene where
this generation's changed.
This generation is different.
Yeah. That was so funny.
Yeah. The scene when Tyler's holding the baby and he's like going up and down and like while he's talking, that was so funny. The like dance.
Tyler got most of the jokes. Yeah. But I liked Paul and Fiona.
They had great.
They were fun. They were cute.
She was really good in that.
Yeah.
She really brought like an extra special. Like,
yeah. When she brings over that casserole.
Yes. And the whole like him being a pet therapist was so funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, what? Like who thought of that? It's So great job, Paul Campbell and really Sustad.
And I think, don't you think we're gonna get 3 wise men and a lady?
Oh,
I mean, I guess the baby was a boy. So I don't know how
3 wise men and a boy.
3 wise men and a Jesus? Maybe 3 wise men and babies.
Babies. Okay.
Maybe the sequel.
Three wise men and an elf.
Three wise men and an elf. That'd be good. Yeah. But it was definitely one of the highlights, and it was just super fun. And the fact that we liked it as much as we did with such hype, I think says something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of hype around it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, what's your number 4?
Inventing the Christmas Prince.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just loved this movie.
Mhm.
I mean, and it definitely was one that I was like, not excited about. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think I would like it as much as I did because the synopsis didn't make any sense. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes the synopsis is like, what? And then, but then the movie like did like it made sense why he would go along with it because he didn't want to, you know, her to leave the job because, you know, so that made sense. I just thought he was so great. The little girl, oh my god,
Yeah, she was cute.
Was one of the
really
best
cute.
little girls. She definitely wins best little kid in Hallmark this season for me.
Mhm.
She was darling. The end scene when he's all dressed up and they get in the not like in the, like a carriage ride. It's just the whole thing. I like that she worked in STEM. I just thought everything about it was just so, it was cute and funny, and I really enjoyed it.
My only problem with that movie was I didn't actually think the chemistry was that great between the two of them. Yeah, and I felt like it took him too long to kind of switch over. He was so awkward, and I don't know if that was if they were trying to say he's like on the spectrum or something, but he was like very socially awkward, I thought, like in dealing with his employees and her and I felt like they needed to make that switch to that a little bit sooner in the screenplay for him to be interested in her and to kind of sell the ending. But I still overall enjoyed it, and it was cute. And the little girl, I agree, was very, very adorable. So I think I loved the kids in the Royal Nanny. I thought they were really good. And then the little girl in Kismet Christmas, I thought was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the top kids.
The top kids.
Top kids.
But now we're ranking kids.
Yes. So my number 4 was actually The Holiday Sitter. I thought that this was so good. I loved the humor, Jonathan's performance. I thought was charming. I could see how some people might think he was a little over the top, but I enjoyed it. It made me laugh. I thought they had really nice chemistry. I loved the family feel of it all. I loved that whole scene with him and his sister, him explaining that he hasn't sometimes flipped that switch of allowing him to think about these options in his life. I thought that was really well written. Tracy Andrean did a great job with the script. All the little subplots I thought worked great. And you know, with his sister adopting that adorable baby was so cute, and then him helping the nephew with the play to impress the neighbor's niece. I really liked the neighbor with his brother. Those scenes I thought worked really well. And them talking about when he says, oh, I don't think he can be the kind of person that I need. And he says, well, he was just somebody who gave up a big trip to watch his niece's nephew. Maybe he's not that far off. That was really good. And it's not just because it's the first gay rom-com from Hallmark. It was legitimately done well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I thought really well written, really well done, wonderful family feel, and it just made me happy watching it.
Same. I have that one as my number 3.
Oh,
because I agree. The kiss was like the best kiss, I think.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, that's a good kiss.
It was so good. It really
was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was really funny. I thought Jonathan was great in it. I agree. The conversations were real. It was nice to see, you know, her adopting, or was it adopting or
adopting? Yeah, they were there to meet the birth mother for the.
Yeah,
That's unique.
It was just all, yeah, it was unique. And I agree. It's not just because it's the first, it was also extremely good.
Mhm.
And I think they did a really great job. Um, and I love that, behind the scenes, we had Allie directing it.
Yeah.
That was cool. So yeah, I just feel like they did a really good job. I'm glad that they did it, and it was great. It's such a
Mhm.
cute movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my number three is In Merry Measure is my
Mm.
number three. I loved this movie. I thought that having Brendan Penny through the Nerdifier machine, as I said on the podcast, was so fun. He was great as this nerdy teacher. uh, and I loved Patty Murin, and I thought it was so well written, and I loved having Russell Hainline on the podcast, talking about his experience. This was his first script that he ever did, and I thought that was a very, very good interview and one of my favorites of the year. And so that kind of even added to it, I think, a little bit. But I just really enjoyed the banter in this one. I thought that the near kiss was so well done. It was actually intentional. We understood her perspective, why she wasn't kissing him, but she wanted to kiss him. That was great. I thought the relationship between her and her sister was really good. Well done. I related to it quite strongly because I had a teacher in high school who was a choir teacher who was really set on winning. That was the priority for her. And so I definitely, these students that don't make the team because, whatever reason, and her kind of, it just made me wish that I'd had something like that when I was in high school, because it would have meant so much to me. So emotionally, it worked for me. And I love Patty, and I thought they had great chemistry. I loved the final kiss in this movie. I thought was great. I just really, it's one I could imagine watching over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I agree that the relationship with the sister was so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a good movie. It didn't make my list, but I agree. It was really well done, and yeah, I liked it. I did like it.
Yeah, yeah. People should definitely listen to that interview. I thought it was just a really good kind of breaking down why certain tropes work and why, why he made certain choices, and it was a really good interview. So people should check it out. But what is your number two?
Okay, my number two
Very exciting.
is, I know, it's Haul Out the Holly.
Uh-huh.
I just
Yeah.
loved it. I thought Lacey did a great job. Like we talked about, Melissa was amazing
Oh,
in it and so funny. There was so many funny moments. I've already seen it at least 3 times. I've already watched it three
yeah.
times. It's just such a feel good movie. It's like, it's just, and
Yeah.
the parents and the whole thing, it's just so over the top, but yet so funny.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't want all Hallmark movies to be
Yeah.
that way, but having one in this mixture was very
Mhm.
refreshing.
It was.
Yeah.
And I thought it really brought out Lacey's strengths. I think sometimes she can be a little like flat.
Hmm.
And this was like, it was like a whole new Lacey. I was like, who is
Yeah.
this girl? She's definitely the queen of my Hallmark. Like I'm
Mhm.
like, you're the queen in my heart now.
And it was interesting in her introduction in the interstitials
Yeah.
for this. She said, "This is my first comedy from Hallmark," and which I thought was interesting that she saw that as that she saw this as a distinct different kind of film than
Yeah.
the others that she's made, because technically, I mean, the others that she made would, except for the ones on Movies and Mysteries, would count as romantic comedy.
Rom-coms.
But
Yeah.
you could see that this was distinctly different. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I think Samantha mentioned that in the interview too. So I think they were trying to
Oh yeah.
kind
Mhm.
of like get that across to the audience.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
cameos were so good.
Oh my God, the Christopher Paloha one. I was like, wait, what?
Because the thing is that made them so effective is that they were so surprising. Like when we see Kimberly Sested in Three Wise Men and a Baby, it's fun, but it's not really surprising because
No,
she
yeah.
obviously
She
has
wrote
this
it.
relationship. She wrote it. But I had I didn't think there was any connection between any of these people and Christopher Poloha or Eric Mabius. So when they show up, it was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
It's not like they've done movies with, like, Christopher's never done a movie with Lacey, or
Yeah.
Wes, to my understanding. And same thing with Eric. And so it was just so surprising and fun.
Yeah. It was nice to see Christopher because his movie was so early in the season.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him back. I was like, oh, okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I actually was just watching from last year, the Dickens holiday.
Yeah, that one was so good.
But yeah, Hull Out the Holly, great job. So funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to watch it every year for sure.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Well, my number 2 is The Ghost of Christmas Always.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Christmas Carol fan. I love Christmas Carol, and that was just like on the mind this year. I mean, there's always Christmas Carol every year, but this year especially, there was the animated Netflix one. There was, of course, Spirited with Will Ferrell, and I mean, so random that we would get 2 movies about the ghosts. That's so crazy in the same year. But if I had to pick, as much as I love the Pascal Paul songs, as much as I really enjoyed Spirited, it was in my top 10 just movies of the whole year. But if I had to pick, I actually think that Ghosts of Christmas Always is even better. It just has, it's a little bit better script. Like Spirited kind of loses its way in the middle and gets kind of convoluted. I still really enjoyed it. But this I think is a little bit tighter, the script. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed the story. I thought it was very clever, very heartfelt. And I Kim Matchula, I thought she was so good. I'm excited to have her part of the Hallmark family. We get to see her again. And I thought that she was just perfect casting for this. She had like the old soul. She felt like somebody from the 50s to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Back in time. Both of them did. I thought they both had sort of old souls. I actually didn't really need them to end up together or to be a romance. Even though I said, that Three Wise Men and Men could have had more romance. But with this one, I actually didn't necessarily need them to get together at the end. And I think that they could keep making these ghost movies and have like different subjects every year.
Mm-hmm.
But you obviously wouldn't have them fall in love every time. That would be weird. But I think that they could do that. And I loved all of the ghosts. I thought they were all really good. And I thought the whole ghost world was really creative and fun. And so, yeah, it's one I can definitely imagine watching every year as well. And I just really enjoyed it. So,
yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. This is the big moment. What is your number 1 movie of 2022? Hallmark.
My number 1 is Ghost of Christmas Always.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, and it came out of nowhere. Like I was even surprised. I'm surprised I watched it live because it was kind of early in the season. It was like around Halloween, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it just hit out of the park for me. Like
it was so good.
Had all the feelings. I laughed, I cried.
Yeah, I forgot that it was on Halloween, which was perfect to do a ghost story. How clever.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so funny. It was like when they get flashed or like pulled back,
Yeah.
And I just thought she, like, when he asks her how she died and he's like, oh, does everyone ask you that? She's like, yeah.
Well, and it was so clever, like the little clues that you get about the about the grandma,
Yes.
through when they go to the center, community center, and there's her
Mhm.
picture there, and you get like, so I haven't like, been able to watch it a second time, but I think it would be fun on future watches to kind of look for all those clues.
Yeah.
And I just think Zach Hug did a great job with the script.
The script was just
Yeah.
so good. And the acting, everything, it was a perfect,
Mhm.
for me, it was the perfect Hallmark Christmas movie. It was like exactly what I wanted. It was
Yeah.
fresh and new, but still had, everything we love. It had
Mhm.
Christmas, it had, yeah, it was
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah. And really, the writers were the stars of all of our picks. We had Tracy Ann Dreen, we had Julie Sherman Wolfe, we had Gary Goldstein for Lights Camera Christmas, we got Russell Hainline, we have Kimberly Seston, Paul Campbell, Julie Sherman Wolfe. I mean, it's just Zach Hug, great writers.
Yeah, because that's what makes the difference. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have huge budgets.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's not really why we watch them,
Mhm. And they've just developed this pool of incredible romantic comedy writing talent.
Yes, they really have. And I feel like they were writing for us this year too.
Yeah.
Like it felt like everyone, like you can tell that these movies, especially these top
Mhm.
10, were written by people who like these movies,
Yeah.
and who like to write these movies.
Mhm.
It felt like the writing felt joyful. It felt like, very kind of, we're in on it too, especially like Blake's Camera Christmas. I don't know,
Yeah.
I just,
And it was really cool. This interview has not aired yet and won't,
okay.
it'll be coming, but I interviewed the Brian Rubery, who wrote Single and Ready to Jingle for Lifetime. And he said that he has listened to every single one of our writer interviews and
Really?
taken notes, because this was his first successfully created screenplay. And and that just was so cool, so exciting to hear.
Yeah.
And I do think that uh we have celebrated the writers in a way that gives me a lot of pride,
Mhm.
that because I think that they are so amazing and they deserve all of the praise,
I agree.
and so yeah. Well, speaking of writers that we love, Julie Sherman Wolfe is definitely one of them. And for
Oh,
me, the number one movie for Hallmark Christmas season was Hanukkah and Rye. And I struggled a little bit with that because I'm like, how can I have a Hanukkah movie as my number one for Countdown to Christmas? That feels so weird. But it was the
yeah.
best. It was the best
Yeah,
one.
it was really great.
For
Yeah.
me, it was
For you, yeah.
so good. I thought that script was tight. I would feel comfortable showing that to anybody that is open to romantic comedies at all, and I think they would be like, yeah, that was well done.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my friends, Matt, he had never seen a Hallmark movie, and he watched The Holiday Sitter, and then he watched Hanukkah and Rye, and he was like, wow, these are really actually really good. I didn't know that I would like Hallmark movies. And I'm like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved this. I thought it took it actually goes way back to a play called Perfumery, which then was adapted into Shop Around the Corner, which then there's also The Good Old Summertime. And then you've got Mail. And of course, there's been many others, but that story on Broadway, it's called She Loves Me, which is so good if you ever get a chance to see it. And it's just a story that works. This idea that two people are writing each other, falling for each other, and they know each other outside of that experience. So both things are happening. It just works. It's a great story. And here it worked. They had incredible chemistry. I like the fact that they didn't actually make them hate each other in in real life,
Yeah.
because sometimes that's the way they go. That's why they wait for Shop Around the Corner and for You've Got Mail, that they don't like each other. But in this, they actually were like really digging each other, which was a fun wrinkle because they're writing, doing this to support their grandmas, and but she's getting more and more like, I'm interested in Jacob, I think was his name, or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
interested in and so when she writes that breakup letter to David, I was like, oh, it was so good. And he's trying so hard, it's not like one of those cases where, business is business or whatever. He wants to make things right so bad because he's like so fallen for her. And that was just all very swoon worthy. And I really appreciate the fact that they did not try to explain Hanukkah to us, because that's the thing with movies, is that like most of the time you don't need the situation to be explained to you. You just need to know what it means to the characters, right? So like if I'm watching one of my favorite movies this year was a movie about a family in Iran. I don't need to have a background of everything in Iran and what's going on in Iran. All I need to know is what is happening to the characters and why is it important to them, right?
Yeah.
It's the same way here. I don't need to necessarily know all of the backstory of the different prayers or, why they do certain things. All I need to know is, okay, it's important in this scene to these characters right now. And I really appreciated, because one that annoyed me last year is they literally had a character that was at the Hanukkah celebrations, that's not Jewish. Her whole role was just to be the person everyone explains everything to. This is why we're doing this. And this is why we're doing this. And I was just like, this is so like boring and just I didn't like it. And so I really appreciated that they just told the story and they didn't feel a need to explain Hanukkah to me.
Yeah. Or explain, latkes or
like, any of it. I mean, and they had some exposition as far as in talking about the grandmas and the history of the East Side and some of those things, but that was worked into the script. You didn't need to be like, let's sit down and
and it's like, come on, everybody knows about Hanukkah. It's not like you have to be living under a rock. Like, I mean, we get it.
We might not know like the intricacies of the prayers and other things like that, but we don't need to know. Again, all we need to know is that it's important to the characters. We know what a menorah is. We know, stuff like that. So I really appreciated that too. And I just loved these two leads. They were so good. I totally bought their chemistry, their romance. I liked that there wasn't really much of a like, how dare you lie to me kind of thing. Like it was a little confusing, like her conflict of why she got so upset, but I felt like she sort of knew she'd been stupid. And so then it didn't really bother me. And they made up, and the battle of the bobas was so fun. And then the twist really worked with them finding out that they had this connection.
So funny when they're eating it and it's like, wait a minute.
They're exactly the same.
They're the same. I laughed so hard. I did not see that coming. Like I just didn't. I don't know if everyone else did tonight. But I thought, it was so good. It is really, you're right. It's just such a good movie.
Yeah, it was so well written and well executed, and one I can imagine watching every year. It's going to be hard to top. I mean, it's like, how do you make a better Hanukkah movie than this? I don't know.
Right?
If you can. So there we go. We did it. So I asked on Twitter what everyone's favorites, and we got tons of answers. So I won't be able to read all of them, but I'll read some of them. So Tommy Field says Holiday Spectacular, Next Stop Christmas, and Haul at the Holly. So Next Stop Christmas was from last year, but nevertheless. And we have Shan saying Three Wise Men, A Holiday Spectacular, and Hanukkah on Rye. Michaela Britton says Hanukkah on Rye, A Holiday Spectacular, and Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas. Did we have any movies and mysteries on our list? Either one? I don't think we did. Neither one. That's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because like I just wasn't in the mood for like sad movies this year because the dog passed away and I've been kind of sad about that. Yeah. So I don't know if it was just me but I wanted joy.
Yeah. And my highest movies and mysteries is I had Gift of Peace at 16. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah. No, that one was good. Oh, I should have done that as my honorable mention because I did think it was a really good faith-based movie for faith-based movies.
And then I had The Holiday Stocking at 20. So I guess those are my two highest.
Yeah, they were just I don't know. Like I said, I just think for me this year I wanted
Yeah. Well, and they were just so good, the comedies this year,
Yes.
that, it was tough.
Yeah.
So Brian R, he says Three Wise Men, Hanukkah and Rye, In Merry Measure. Music Chick 8604, Beth says Ghost of Christmas Always, Three Wise Men and a Baby, and Holla at the Holly. Sandy, let's see here, no, I lost it. NML says Holla at the Holly, Three Wise Men and a Baby, Jolly Good Christmas, honorable mention The Holiday Sitter. Hillary Moore says Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas and Three Wise Men and a Baby. AKF says Three Wise Men and a Baby, The Holiday Sitter, The Most Colorful Time of the Year, getting the shout out. That one was bonkers.
That one was
it was fun to cover.
Oh my god.
Superhero origin story.
Oh my goodness. That movie was complete bonkers.
Yeah, it really was.
It was so fun to tweet live with that movie.
Yeah.
It was just like, wait, what is going on? What are we all watching together?
I'm telling you, he's gonna become Superman. Melissa Kazwicki says Ghost of Christmas Always, Holla at the Holly, Three Wise Men and a Baby. I mean, those are clearly the top three. Madam Editor says Inventing the Christmas Prince was so good. Suzanne Gannon says My Grown Up Christmas List, The Royal Nanny, and Three Wise Men and a Baby. Let's see if there's any other unique ones. We get a lot of the same.
Yeah, I mean, the top three.
Those three were clearly the top. Deb Johnson says Three Wise Men and a Baby, A Holiday Spectacular, and Hanukkah on the Rye. Our friend, let's see, I lost it. Where did it go? Hold on. Our friend Terry, she said Three Wise Men and a Baby, Holla at the Holly, and A Kismet Christmas. Shout out there.
Yeah.
That was cute. Our friend Thaddeus, he says Ghost of Christmas Always, Three Wise Men and a Baby, and Hanukkah on Rye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Christmas Radio says Holla at the Holly, Ghost of Christmas Always, and The Royal Nanny.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout out. So anyway, we seriously got so many responses. It was amazing. So I'll put a link down to that Twitter thread. Make sure you're all following us on Twitter, because you don't want to miss when we do that. And we have this Saturday coming up our January preview with Greg McBride and Jax. A lot of fun. And then we always pick a movie that has New Year's in as a significant scene, a significant part. And so we actually recapped the first Sex and the City movie, because there's that New Year's scene in that movie. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that's coming up on Saturday. That's our little New Year's Eve gift to all of you. And
awesome.
Yeah. So let's go over our top 10 list before we go. My number 1, Hanukkah on Rye. 2, Ghost of Christmas Always. 3, In Merry Measure. 4, The Holiday Sitter. 5, Three Wise Men and a Baby. 6, A Holiday Spectacular. 7, Lights, Camera, Christmas. 8, The Royal Nanny. 9, Holla at the Holly. And 10, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Okay, so mine, number 1, I had Ghost of Christmas Always. Number 2, Holla at the Holly. Number 3, Holiday Sitter. Number 4, Inventing the Christmas Prince. Number 5, Three Wise Men and a Baby. Number 6, Lights, Camera, Christmas. Number 7, Hanukkah on Rye. Number 8, My Big Fat Family Christmas. What is it called again?
That's it. They changed it. It was originally My Big Fat Chinese Family Christmas.
Yeah.
But they changed it.
Number 9, I had the Royal Corgi movie.
Mm-hmm.
Royal Corgi Christmas, I think is the official name. I just call it Corgi movie. And number 10, I had A Cookie Catastrophe.
Yeah. So we were pretty close. Really.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
But it was nice to have a few different ones. You know? I was afraid. I was like, oh God, what if we have like the exact same list? Yeah. How boring would that be to listen to? So I'm glad that we had a little bit of a little different.
Well, let us know in the comment section what your lists are, what you think of our picks. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And you can follow us again on Twitter. And Megan, where can people find you?
So I'm at Twitter, Megan D320.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And you can follow the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media except for Facebook, which is down, disabled. We're trying. We've tried everything.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll someday get it back. We might not.
I even texted my cousin who works for Facebook. We got nothing.
Nothing. So we'll see. But follow us everywhere else.
Yes.
Except for Facebook. But yes, if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group. That's the best way that you can help us is subscribe for the Patreon. I think you get such a bang for your buck from the Patreon. And this month we're having James Denton as our watch along guest, and we're going to watch Kiss Before Christmas. So that's huge. It's going to be so fun. So join the Patreon. You won't regret it. And then we also have the merch store, which is a lot of fun, has some great Hardee's postables, Hallmarkies inspired merch. So please take a look at that. We sure appreciate it. And thanks so much, Megan. And we'll talk to y'all later. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.